Hello everyone, welcome to this week's review. This week is a special one because we're going to be reviewing this pen, which is the Omas Paragon in Arco brown celluloid. So if you've looked into Italian pens before, you've definitely probably heard of Omas. Unfortunately a now defunct brand that went under in 2016, but during their life they made some really amazing pens, including this. This technically is the old style Paragon, but when it was made, it was just the Paragon. They had a whole thing with naming models. I don't know. But yeah, let's get into the actual parts of this pen and show you all about it. So when you first unscrew the pen, you can see on the grip section, it's dated 1991, which is when this pen was made. So it's a little bit older than me, that's for sure. And if you look at the nib, it's a standard Omas gold nib of the time, two-tone, very nice imprint, number 6 size nib. This one is a medium, and it is a fantastic writer. It's apparently, I've heard some people describe it as like intentionally a semi-flex nib, but I just think it's a gold nib that happens to be a little flexible, which I really enjoy. I don't know if that was something they did on purpose or that's just how they made their nibs back then, but it's a joy to write with, as you'll see. And it's paired with an ebonite feed, which I have had some, issues with. I'll get into that. But it's a great feed. It provides good flow when the pen's working, and it makes it a true, really top tier writing experience. So the Paragon is actually a pretty light pen. The body is all made of celluloid. It's the beautiful Arco brown celluloid. Hopefully I can show you some good close-up shots of that to really highlight how beautiful that material is. It's famous for a reason. And it is also a piston filler. The piston filler is plastic. So all in all, it's a fairly light pen. And it's about a medium size too. So I don't really know if it was described as Omas's flagship pen, but it's definitely meant for everyday writing. It's obviously a very fancy, expensive pen, but it's not just to sit in a box and be opened once a year to sign some huge contract. It's actually meant for writing, which I think it performs very well in that department. And because of its lightweight, it is really nice for long writing sessions. And yeah, as I mentioned, it is a piston filler. Personally, I think, although Omas's piston filling system has been much maligned in the past, and I understand that it's definitely not the highest quality for the price you pay, I think it works well, and it's pretty much entirely disassemblable. So if you want to perform maintenance or anything like that, you absolutely can, which I really enjoy. I mean, you would want it to work perfectly, but the fact when it doesn't, you can take it apart and tinker with it yourself. I think that's a great plus. Now, as for the aesthetics of the pen, it has two pointed finials at the end. It has a traditional Italian style roller clip and then a cap band with two little small bands and then one with a Greek key design in the middle, and then a trim ring where the piston filler is connected to the body. And then there's a step down from the threads. The threads are in the middle right here, so there's the cap attaches, but the threads are at the end, they're right here, and then there's the grip section. Personally, I think that actually works quite well for me because I grip far down on the grip section, although the threads are not sharp in any way, so I think it's a very accommodating grip section, and really most people would enjoy it. It's also an extraordinarily well finished pen too. The Arco is polished to a fabulous shine. It really catches the light, and it doesn't. The only thing is, it doesn't feel like a sturdy pen. It definitely feels well made, but it's also a pen that I am intentionally very gentle with because I don't want to impart any scratches or anything on its finish, just in case. One thing that is a little annoying is the trim rings for me have come a little loose, so they can be like fidgeted around a little bit. They don't spin or anything because this is a faceted pen, so I would hope they wouldn't spin. But they are a little loose, which is kind of concerning. Not like I don't think they're gonna fall off, but they're just not quite secure, and I don't know. I just wish they were. It's kind of annoying. The only other thing is, if you have been following my Instagram, you know I posted about I've been having some flow issues with the pen. If I would let it just write normally, it would start burping ink all the time. And I tried to do some, tinkering, disassembling my own, and I think I've fixed it, thankfully. But unfortunately, because I don't have any sealant, now the grip section, the Arco and the grip section, isn't perfectly aligned with the Arco pattern on the barrel. I could tinker around with that more and try and fix it, but the fact that I have it working, I'll just be proud of myself for just doing that for now, and then see if I can get it more aesthetically pleasing in the future. But yeah, it's a fantastic pen. It's a tremendous writer. It's incredibly fun to use. The only thing is it's not very practical. I mean, any pen in this price range isn't practical, but I think the best way I could sum it up for this one is it's the perfect pen for me that I'm afraid to use. So, I don't know. I do love using it, but it's like not one of those things that I would want to use all the time for fear of doing something that would break it or something like that. So it's mostly just a pen that I bring out every once in a while for when I want to feel extra fancy or just stare at the Arco like I'm staring at the One Ring. But yeah, it's a fantastic pen that I am ever so slightly afraid to use. And that does bring up the question of like, should I have it in my collection if I'm not using it all the time? I don't know. I mean, I'm still thinking about that. I do want to keep it just because Omas is one of my favorite brands. I have a few other of their pens, and they're really amazing, that I do use a lot. And it's just a question of, do I want to keep this? Do I want to be a collector or a user, or somewhere in the middle? And I think with this pen, I'm sort of somewhere in the middle, when normally I lean towards the user range. So I will continue to ponder that for the future. But in the meantime, while I still do have it, I am absolutely going to appreciate it as much as I can. Because eventually, if I did want to sell it to someone else, it would definitely fetch a pretty penny. As I said, Omas is unfortunately out of business, and they ain't making no Arco anymore. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's the reality that we're in, is that one of the most sought after materials is no longer in production, which is sad, but it is what it is. But yeah, I'm sure you want to see how this pen writes, so let's get to that. So first, here we have the size comparison. So you can see the Omas compared to my most recent acquisition, the Conid Minimalistica, which you'll have to stay tuned for a review of. Subscribe if you want to see that. Next to a Lamy Safari and an Esterbrook J. So you can see the Omas isn't a small pen, but it's not an oversized pen either, because the Minimalistica, I would say, is a slightly large pen, and then of course the Lamy Safari for reference. The Lamy Safari is quite a long pen, but it's about a normal-ish sized pen, certainly not an oversized pen. And then we can check to see the uncapped to see how they compare with that. Yeah, you can see the uncapped comparison. It's certainly not a small pen. It definitely is pretty similar to the Conid Minimalistica. So yeah, it's just, I think, a great middle-of-the-road pen that's perfectly suited to everyday writing. And one of the things about this that I realize and appreciate in the Paragon is faceted pens are much easier to line up for a size comparison because they don't roll around everywhere. Okay, here we go for the writing sample. This is the Omas Paragon Arco Bronze, inked with Aurora Black. Okay, so that's one audio source. Let's change it a bit and then see what you like better. Alright, here we go. A quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So yeah, this is a really just amazing nib. It's one of the best writers that I have, and it's a joy to use every single time that I do use it. You can see it's a little flexy, and even after fixing its burping issue, it is gushing wet. So yeah, fantastic writer, fantastic pen. So that's the Omas Paragon. It's definitely one of my favorite models of pen. In this finish, I think it's one of just the best pens in general. I'm sad that Omas is gone, but I'm glad I still get to appreciate their pens, and I think a perfect summary of it is it's, for me, the perfect pen that I'm slightly afraid to use. But when I am using it, it is absolutely a joy, and if you ever can get your hands on one, if anyone pops up, I would say absolutely recommend 100%. And it is, I think, the essence of what makes pens great, and I think that's a perfect summary of it. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed indulging in the eye candy of the Arco as well. And if you like this video and want to see more, feel free to subscribe and give a like. And hey, give me a comment down below. Do you think it's a good idea for me to keep the pen even if I'm not using it all the time? Or do you think I should get rid of it and maybe sell it to you? But yeah, I hope you have a great day. Bye.